My sister picked up my son's gift and sneered, "Cheap, dirty trash." Then she shoved him, threw the gift at his face right at her own birthday party. My parents just smirked. I didn't argue. I pulled the plug, seized the house, and said, "Starting today, you're on your own." She thought I was joking, until everything disappeared. 6 years ago, it all started with a glossy folder and a binder full of spreadsheets. My sister Ashley, who was 27 at the time and fresh off another dead-end job, walked into my house like she'd just discovered fire. She spread the papers across my kitchen table. "Soko Wellness Boutique," it read, in a flowing, expensive-looking font. My sister picked up my son's gift and sneered, "Cheap, dirty trash." Then she shoved him, threw the gift at his face right at her own birthday party. My parents just smirked. I didn't argue. I pulled the plug, seized the house, and said, "Starting today, you're on your own." She thought I was joking, until everything disappeared. The pages showed mock-ups of a sleek storefront on South Congress, right in the heart of Austin's tourist district. She talked about wellness and aura and curated experiences. She had spreadsheets, sure, but they looked thin, all optimism and no real-world friction. My parents, David and Amanda, were there. They always seemed to be there when Ashley had a new vision. "Isn't it wonderful, Jessica?" my mother Amanda said, already looking at me with that expectant expression. "She's finally found her passion." My father David chimed in, his voice casual but heavy with implication. "You know Jess family is supposed to help family get a start." I had just finalized my divorce. I was finally stable, finally breathing. My data analyst job was paying well, but I was emotionally raw. I was craving, I don't know, approval. A sign that I was more than just the reliable, boring older sister. And here was my chance to be the hero, to fix something, to be useful. Looking back, it's so clear. People ask, why did you do it? Why did you put up with it for so long? They don't understand the invisible chains. When you grow up in a house where love is conditional, where you're taught that your value is tied to your utility, you don't just walk away. You develop a survivor's complex. You start to believe that this prison, the one where you are constantly paying for your keep, is the only safe place to live. You believe that being useful is the price of admission. It's not weakness. It's a complex, learned response to a lifetime of emotional neglect. It's a cage without bars where the lock is your own desperate hope that this time, this one last time, your sacrifice will finally make them see you. So when Ashley pushed the loan agreement across the table, I looked at my parents' hopeful faces, at my sister's burning ambition, and I ignored the cold knot in my stomach. I said yes. $80,000. I didn't just co-sign. I took out the loan myself, securing it against a small rental property I owned outright. A house I had bought with my own savings, my first real asset. I was quite literally betting the house on her. I transferred the $80,000 to her new business account. She didn't just thank me. She hugged me, cried, said I had saved her life. My parents beamed. David called me a true Lauren. For about a month, I actually felt like I belonged. That $80,000 was just the beginning. It was an entry fee. Because 2 months later, my father David called. He hemmed and hawed, talking about the weather, about his bad back, before finally getting to the point. Their landlord in East Austin was raising the rent, $2,500 a month. "We just can't swing it, Jess," he'd said, his voice full of that practiced, weary sigh. "With Ashley's business just starting. We're trying to support her, you know. But it leaves us short." "I'll take care of it," I said. The words were out of my mouth before I'd even thought them through. For 8 years, I took care of it. Every first of the month, $2,500. An automatic transfer. I never missed a payment. Meanwhile, Ashley's loan payments for the house, which were supposed to start after 6 months, were sporadic. Then they trickled to a stop. "It's just the market, Jess," she'd say over the phone. "This wellness industry is cutthroat. I'm struggling." But her Instagram told a different story. It was a highlight reel of dinners at Uchi and Laundrette, new designer bags, weekend trips to Marfa. She wasn't struggling, she was spending. She was spending my money while I was budgeting for groceries. I let it slide. I told myself it was fine. I was the stable one. I could handle it. The breaking point didn't come from the money. It came from a small 3D printed frame. It was Ashley's 33rd birthday. My son Christopher had been working on a gift for months. He's 8, and he's obsessed with my old 3D printer. He'd found Ashley's boutique logo online, meticulously recreated it in a 3D modeling program, and spent weeks printing and perfecting it. He used his own allowance to buy a simple wooden frame, which he painted black. He was so proud of it. He wrapped it himself using half a roll of tape. We were predictably an afterthought for the party. A last-minute text from my mother Ashley is having a few people over. You and Christopher can stop by if you're not busy. When we got there, a few people meant half of Austin. The music was thumping. David and Amanda were beaming, holding court by the bar, acting like the generous hosts, even though I knew I'd paid for the catering. Christopher, clutching his gift, beelined straight for Ashley. "Happy birthday, Aunt Ashley," he said, his voice full of 8-year-old excitement. He held up the frame. "I made this for you. It's your logo." Ashley was holding a champagne flute. She glanced down at the gift, her smile tightening. She took it from him, held it up between 2 fingers like it was a dirty diaper. "What is this?" she drawled loud enough for her friends to hear. It's your logo," Christopher said, his smile faltering. Ashley let out a sharp laugh. "It's cheap, filthy trash." And then she didn't just drop it. She shoved him. A small casual push that sent Christopher stumbling back. Then she threw the framed gift. It hit him square in the face. The frame shattered. Plastic shards and broken wood went flying. Christopher just stood there, stunned, his hand flying to his cheek where a piece of the frame had cut him. The music didn't stop, but a little bubble of silence formed around us. I looked at my parents. My mother Amanda was smirking into her drink. My father David caught my eye and just shrugged a small, amused tilt of his head. My sister turned back to her friends, already laughing about something else, leaving my son bleeding on the patio. I walked over to Christopher. I didn't say a word. I knelt, picked up the broken pieces of his hard work, and helped him wipe the blood from his face. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stopped. I felt that invisible chain, the one I'd been wearing for 38 years, turn to absolute dust. I took his hand. "Let's go, sweetie." As we walked out, I heard Ashley call after me, "Don't be so dramatic, Jessica. It was a joke." That night, Christopher sat at his desk, silently trying to glue the broken pieces of the frame back together. I went to my office. I logged into my bank. I saw the scheduled payment David and Amanda rent, $2,500. I clicked Manage. I clicked Disable. A small confirmation box popped up. "Are you sure?" I pressed Confirm. Then I pulled up the loan agreement for the $80,000. I found the clause about the house I owned being the collateral. I opened a new email to my lawyer. The subject line was simple: breach of contract and foreclosure. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Cynthia, didn't even blink. She had the demand letter and the official notice of default filed by noon the next day. Because I wasn't just a co-signer, I was the primary lien holder. The house was my property put up as collateral for a business loan. Ashley hadn't just defaulted on a family promise. She'd breached a legal contract. Cynthia sent the notice of foreclosure via a certified process server. I got the notification on my phone when a startled Ashley signed for it at the boutique. Simultaneously, Cynthia sent a formal letter to my parents' landlord, informing them that, as the guarantor on their lease, another mistake I'd made years ago, I was terminating my financial responsibility at the end of the 30-day cycle. Their rent was due, and I was no longer paying it. The landlord, not wanting to waste time, served David and Amanda with a 30-day eviction notice the same afternoon. The firestorm hit at 5:03 p.m. My phone didn't just buzz. It sounded like it was having a seizure. It lit up, vibrating violently across the kitchen counter. First, my mother Amanda. A string of texts, one after another. "What have you done? The landlord just served us papers, Jessica. Are you trying to make us homeless? This is about that stupid party, isn't it? You've always been jealous of your sister." Then my father David. He just called. Over and over. 10 missed calls in 15 minutes. His voicemails were short, guttural. "You fix this. You fix this now. You ungrateful child, after everything we've done for you." Then Ashley. Her texts were pure rage, a stream of consciousness filled with typos and fury. You're trying to ruin me. You're a sick, jealous, lonely old hag. You think you can take my house. I'll sue you. I'll tell everyone what you are." I watched the messages flood in. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel guilt. I felt quiet. I read the word jealous 9 times. Ungrateful 12 times. Cruel, cold-hearted, destroying the family. I didn't answer a single text. I didn't listen to a single voicemail past the first few seconds. I just let them burn. I let their panic, their entitlement, their shock echo into the digital void. They had spent my entire life treating me like an ATM, a background character whose only purpose was to fund their lives. They had never once considered that the ATM might run out of cash. Or worse, that the ATM might just decide to shut itself down. I made dinner for Christopher, macaroni and cheese, his favorite. We sat at the table and talked about his school project. My phone buzzed relentlessly on the counter, a frantic dying wasp. I didn't even look at it. I just turned the volume off. The silence in my apartment was absolute, and for the first time in 8 years it felt like peace. They thought this was a negotiation. They thought I was making a threat. They hadn't understood. This wasn't a threat. It was a foreclosure. When the private threats didn't work, when they realized I had genuinely cut the power, Ashley escalated. She took the conflict public. I found out from a colleague. A polite, hesitant Slack message on a Tuesday morning. "Hey, Jessica! Is this you?" The link went to a GoFundMe page. The title was, "Help my family betrayed by my cruel sister." My blood went cold. I clicked. And there was Ashley in a grainy, tear-stained video. She was sitting in a cluttered room. I recognized the cheap art of a weekly motel with my parents David and Amanda flanking her. Amanda was dabbing her eyes with a tissue. David just stared at the camera, looking defeated and sick. I never thought I'd have to do this," Ashley began, her voice cracking perfectly. "My whole life I've just wanted to build something beautiful." She talked about her small business, the wellness boutique, painting it as a community hub for healing. Then she pointed the camera at our parents. "My sister. My wealthy, jealous sister. She's taking everything." She told a story. A masterpiece of fiction. She claimed she'd taken a small, good-faith loan from me, but that I'd always been jealous of her success. She said that because she was happy, I decided to ruin her. She claimed I was evicting our sick, elderly parents, David and Amanda, from their home out of spite, and foreclosing on her own home and business, leaving them all completely homeless and destitute. "She's a data analyst," Ashley sobbed, "making well over $140,000, and she's doing this to us. We just need help to get back on our feet, to find a place to live, to fight this injustice." The campaign goal was set at $50,000. I scrolled down. In the 24 hours it had been live, it had already raised $3,000. The comments were a wildfire of outrage. "What kind of monster does this to their own parents?" Jessica Lauren in Austin. "Someone should find her boss. This is elder abuse." I felt the floor drop out from under me. This wasn't just a family fight anymore. She had used my full name. She had tagged my city. She was actively trying to destroy my reputation. My hands were shaking as I clicked through the donors. I saw names I recognized, distant aunts, old family friends, people from their church, all donating $50 or $100, all posting prayers and support for my poor family. This was calculated. This was war. I forwarded the link to Cynthia, my lawyer. Her response was immediate. "This is libel, Jessica. Public defamation." But the damage was already happening. I felt the eyes in the office. The way my manager, a decent guy named Mark, suddenly couldn't meet my gaze during our afternoon Zoom. The GoFundMe link appeared in my work email sent from an anonymous account. You should be ashamed. Ashley wasn't just trying to get money. She was trying to get me fired. She was trying to burn down the one thing I had built for myself, the one thing they had never been able to touch: my career. She thought that if she set my life on fire, I'd have no choice but to run back and put out hers. I took a deep breath. I looked at the picture of Christopher on my desk, smiling, holding his unbroken frame. I opened a new email, not to my family, not to my boss. I wrote to my great-aunt, my father's estranged sister, the family matriarch, who hadn't spoken to David in a decade, but who read every email. I wrote to my cousins. I wrote to the pastor of my parents' church. And I attached 2 simple files. The first, a PDF of the $80,000 loan agreement and 8 years of $2,500 rent payments. The second, a short 30-second video clip. The one from the party. The one of Ashley shoving my son, the frame shattering. The one where you can hear my parents' laughter. My email was 1 sentence. Since my family has decided to make our private financial matters public on GoFundMe, I am providing the full context for their betrayal. I hit send. I didn't check the GoFundMe page. I didn't engage. I just let my email do its work. The first response came from my great-aunt, the matriarch. It was a single word, shameful. I wasn't sure who she was referring to, until she forwarded my email to the entire family list with her own subject line, the truth. The GoFundMe campaign stopped dead in its tracks. The donations froze. Then the comments started to turn. People who had donated $50 were now demanding refunds. I was told they were victims. This is fraud. She sent her EIGHTYEAROLD nephews gift flying, and they laughed. Someone I don't know who must have reported the campaign to GoFundMe. By noon the next day, the page was gone. A simple campaign under review message replaced the tearful video. By 5 p.m., it was officially suspended for violating terms of service regarding fraudulent claims. The silence from my family was absolute. Months passed. The eviction notice ran its course. The foreclosure proceedings finalized. The house was sold at auction to cover the loan I had paid off. I heard whispers through my great-aunt. My parents and Ashley were living in a weekly rate motel off the highway. Ashley, whose wellness boutique was now just an empty storefront with my foreclosure notice taped to the inside of the glass, was working the drive-thru at a fast food restaurant. David and Amanda had, for the first time in their lives, no one to call. I had just gotten home from work watching Christopher meticulously assemble a new complex 3D printed model of a spaceship when my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Curiosity got the better of me. I pressed play. It was my father's voice. Weak. Almost unrecognizable. Jessica, I know you won't pick up. That's fine. I was wondering. Amanda misses him. Could you just send a few pictures of Christopher? Just so we can see how he's doing. I listened to the message twice. He didn't ask for money. He didn't yell. He didn't demand. He just asked for photos. I looked at my son, happy, focused, safe in our quiet home. He was thriving, working on his project, the sunlight catching the intricate pieces of plastic in his hands. He was building something new. I thought about the broken frame. I thought about the laughter. I pressed my thumb to the screen. I deleted the voicemail. And then I blocked the number. We're taught that cutting ties with family is the ultimate sin. That blood is thicker than water. But they forget the rest of that saying. The original phrase is, "The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb." It means the bonds we choose, the relationships built on respect and loyalty, are stronger than the family we're just born into. I spent a lifetime trying to earn my place at a table where I was never truly welcome. I was the good daughter only as long as I was the silent, obedient bank. But letting go of my bloodline was the only way to find myself. It's not an act of betrayal. It's the ultimate act of self-preservation. It's not about hate. It's about choosing peace. It's a quiet, courageous declaration that you will no longer set yourself on fire just to keep others warm. My family is gone. But for the first time in my life, I am finally free.